The Way Home, only on Hallmark.
Celeb Secrets is hanging out with Sadie Snow today. Thanks so much for taking the time to hang out with us. There's so much to talk about. First of all, The Way Home. It's huge on the Hallmark Channel. Congratulations to you. I know a second season is coming, but I want to take it back to the beginning a little bit. For people maybe that haven't seen the show yet, can you give us a little overview and what they could expect from your character?
It's a multi-generational family story that follows 3 generations of women. So I play Alice. I'm the teenage daughter of Kat, who's played by Kyler Lee, who is the daughter of Dell, who's played by Andy McDowell. Kat's marriage is falling apart, so she moves her teenage daughter Alice to this small town to live with her mom, Dell. But they haven't spoken in 20 years because 20 years prior, Kat's younger brother goes missing and she loses her dad in a tragic accident. And so the family's been like broken apart, but they're coming back together in this moment of kind of like, you know, Kat being like, what should I do? How do I support my daughter? Because Alice is like really going through it and like just making everyone's life miserable as a result. So basically, right away, Alice discovers that she can time travel back to 1999 to right before tragedy kind of took hold of her family's story. And she's actually able to meet her whole family. None of them realize who she is. And she really kind of gets involved there. And so then she kind of has to deal with, how do I put my family back together? What kind of responsibility do you have when you're like actually able to like be involved in a moment in time where everything went wrong for all the people you love? And yeah, so that's kind of what the season looks like for Alice.
That is just so like action-packed and drama-filled. I feel like, what's it like for you getting into that role? And even like you said, you are time traveling into different eras.
Alice time travels by the first time it's by falling into a pond. And so the time travel mechanism is actually this like really, really magical like mystical pond set. She's always kind of having to explain why she was coming from a pond, why she's always like, her clothes are always soaking wet. And yeah, for me as an actor, like holding the 2 timelines is really important. I can't tell my mom where I've been because I've actually been hanging out with her in the past, but she doesn't remember me as her friend Alice. She sees them as 2 separate people. Yeah, and then as the season goes on, we get closer and closer to the disappearance of Jacob and Colton, so Dell's husband, his death. And Alice has to kind of contend with like, okay, do I intervene? What do I do? What happens when I intervene? And yeah, so just knowing those things about the future, I think makes it really hard to, knowing the things about the past makes it really hard to stay present in her regular life.
So like we've been saying, you know, your character does time travel and she is friends with her mom and her mom doesn't realize it, you know, in present day. So I'm curious, like if you were to go time travel back, do you think you'd be friends with your mom?
My mom and I are really close friends, you know, now as especially as I've like, you know, gotten older, and she and my younger sister, I think, share a lot of traits like in terms of what they're like as teenagers. Okay. And my younger sister is also my best friend, so I feel like if I went back in time, it would be like meeting my sister in like an alternate dimension. And that's kind of what it felt like with Alex Hook, like who played Teen Kat. It felt like the relationship was more like we were playing sisters than like mom and daughter, because you have this like really intense like intimacy and closeness, but at the same time it's more than friends. Mm-hmm. But I can't tell her it's family.
And it's got to be fun working with Andy and Kyler, because they are just such legendary actresses. What's it like being on set with them, and what have you learned maybe from them career-wise that you're like, oh, like I'm so happy I'm on set with them?
It's just like such a great opportunity to learn like acting-wise, just see how much they care about the story and how curious they are about their own characters and how much they're gonna fight for like what they think that their character would do and what's authentic to how they see their story. And then also just that I'm pretty new to this, and they were so welcoming and open, but at the same time like took me really seriously as an actor and as a professional and as like a young woman. And I think that it's just great to see that like people who are so so established and have huge list of credits and are so beloved by so many fans can really like hold that like really kind, generous energy, and also really like challenge me as a scene partner. And like it's just been great.
Now I know that the season finale aired yesterday, right? Oh my gosh. So how was that, like seeing it kind of everything unfold, and people are kind of getting questions to the getting answers to the questions that they've been asking all season?
Yeah, it was funny because I feel like I've been following along with people's theories online because I'm curious what it seems like, as a viewer. And also we had the experience of having our own theories because we only got 2 episodes at a time. So seeing like, what people were expecting as they went along was really fun. There's also a huge reveal. The first scene in episode 1, like it's the back of someone's head the whole time, and then it's revealed who it is, and people had their theories throughout the season, and it could have plausibly been any one of us, like me, Kyler, or Andy in that scene. And so there was like a big reveal at the end. I won't spoil that in case someone hasn't seen it yet, but it's just been so fun to be like, remember that thing from episode 2, or like just the showrunners and the creators were so thorough with what information they let out when when they circled back to remind audiences about it. And I was just so impressed. So it was so fun last night.
And what are maybe like some questions that you had as Sadie, as a fan watching the show, coming out of the finale, and that you hope see like in season 2?
Well, I have no idea where we're headed. So I'm in the same boat as the fans and the viewers, because people yesterday were asking like, when do we get a season 2? Like, when do you guys start filming? What's gonna happen? Like, I know as much as you. I want to see what happens with the kind of love story, like ships in the night story of like Kat and Elliot, because they kind of their love story kind of like came together, but Alice never really saw it happen because it kind of like came together, and then Elliot realized it wasn't the right moment in time for him, and so like there was kind of this big heartbreak at the end of the season 2. I really want to see Alice and Del's friendship develop. Andy and I were having such a nice time kind of near the end of the season because Alice stops rejecting her grandmother and starts kind of like really like enjoying that relationship. So we were having fun there, and there's theories that Del knows about the pond, there's theories that Colton knows about the pond, there's can Elliot time travel? There's all kinds of questions that I want answers to because because I'm in the same place as everyone else. So I'm really looking forward to getting into that, and I know the writers are like as we speak getting into those questions. So I'm really excited.
Okay, because I was gonna say, what's it like maybe like being on set with everybody? Do you maybe have any favorite memories together?
One of my favorite days was like near the end. A lot of the older and younger versions of each other hadn't really spent any time on set together because it didn't really make sense to film, like, the whole set had to be in the 90s, and then the whole set was like changed over to be 2023. So it wasn't like we had 2 different sets. It was just like they were always swapping everything, which was so much work and done so beautifully. But at the end, there was a day where like the kind of those lines started kind of blurring in the episodes themselves, and so there was this big crossover day where Kyler was on set with Alex and Evan was on set with David, and all these different things, and even like some of the high schoolers in 2023 were meeting the high schoolers in 1999, and it was just really sweet. We filmed a scene in like a cafe that day, and there was all these like food and drinks. It kind of felt like a party, but we had to keep working, and anyway, and the scene, they were all graduating like in the scene, so it was very celebratory, and it was just I was so proud of everybody.